Hello, Year 3, and welcome to today's vocabulary lesson. We're going to continue focusing on the words that we talked about last week because I know that there was a lot of information thrown at you. So we're going to go over it again just so that we can be sure that we know what the meaning of these new words are. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen with you right now. Okay, so today is the 1st of March, 2021. And of course, because it is vocabulary, we're going to learn to understand the meaning of different words. These are the words that I introduced to you last week. And what you notice about them is that they've all got prefixes in front of them. Remember, prefixes are a group of letters added to the beginning of the word, and it changes the meaning. So the prefix in all these words is sub. The prefix in all these words is super. And the prefix in all these words is auto. Okay? Now remember, when you have the prefix sub, it means that something is below, something is of a lower level. Okay, so something is below, something is of a lower level. Whereas this prefix super means above and beyond. It's of a greater level, okay? It's more than, it's extreme. It's above and beyond, okay? So these are almost opposites. Whereas sub means below and a lower level, super means above and a higher level. And then auto means itself. So autobiography is a biography about yourself. Automobile, it's a car that moves itself. Autograph, it's a signature that you sign yourself, okay? It's not anyone else's, it's your own, it's yourself, all right? But let's go on. This lesson is going to focus just on the meanings of these words, all right? And once you know the meanings, you can start using them when you speak, you can start understanding them when you're reading, you can start using them in your writing, which is why we put such a heavy focus on vocabulary and learning the meanings of different words. So, substandard means below the usual standard, below the normal, okay? The best thing I could think of is if you look at this house, this is a substandard house. It's not your normal house. It's not a house that you would see as you walk down the road, okay? It's a little bit substandard. It's below standard. Most people probably would not want to live there because it looks a little bit run down. It does not look safe to live in. Okay, so that is something that is substandard, below the usual standard. Now, we've talked a lot about subtitles. Okay, the main thing we've talked about is a title that is less important than the main title. Okay, it gives extra information. Think about that unicorns non-chronological report that we wrote. The main big title was unicorns, and then you had those lesser titles, which said habitat, it said appearance, it said interesting facts. They give extra information about that particular topic. Now, subtitles could also be captions written below the picture in a film because sometimes people might not be able to hear the film. So they put these subtitles on so they can read what the people are saying in the film. Okay, then we've got a submarine. I'm sure most of you have seen this. It's a boat that can go completely under the water. Okay, I'm sure you've seen these in lots of different movies, and people usually work inside here. And then finally, related to submarine, you've got submerge, which is to put something underwater. So I've just got this picture of a little lemon over here, and it's being submerged in the water. Okay, you put something underwater, you're submerging it. So the submarine, it has been submerged. All right. So all of those have to do with being lesser. Then you've got your super, okay? Remember, super is above and beyond. So superpower is a very great power or a very powerful country. A superhero is an all-powerful hero who fights evil, and often found in comic books. But then the supervillain is the comic book bad guy with superpowers, okay? And the best picture, I think, to describe all of those would be this one right here, okay? You've got your superheroes on this side, and they're fighting against the supervillains on this side, okay? All powerful heroes in the comic books, they fight evil, and then these are the bad guys, the supervillains, they do the nasty deeds. And they can also be considered supernatural because it's something that cannot be explained by science. How do they have these powers? Okay? How does Superman have these powers? Well, we can't explain it using science, which is why it's supernatural. Okay? So, best picture to explain the meaning of those words is this one right here. Finally, you've got your auto. And remember, I said auto means oneself. So if you have an autograph, you're writing your own name, you're writing a signature. An autopilot, a device that keeps a plane on course. So sometimes, if the pilot knows that it's going to be a direct flight, a straight flight, he sets it on autopilot and the plane just drives itself. Okay? Then you've got automobile, which is a car. And I've talked about this a lot. An autobiography, an account of your own life that you write yourself. So if I were to write about myself, it's an autobiography. But if I were to write about Miss Davis, it would just be a biography because I'm not writing about myself, I'm writing about someone else. Okay? So take your time to go over these words because today's task is quite simple. All you have to do is create a riddle for each of these words. Okay? Not all of them, I've only picked a few for you to do because we're going to do a few riddles ourselves. Okay? So our first activity we're going to do together. We have to use the clues or the riddles to determine the focus word. Okay? And hint, there are 6 statements, but only 3 words. So some of them are repeated twice. Okay? So number 1, superheroes can have this. So superheroes can have this. What do you think it could be? Okay? Do you remember what I said it was? They're really powerful, so they must have a super power. All right, hopefully you got that one. Number 2, this is a boat that goes underwater. So under means sub, okay? Below means sub. So which word do you think is a boat that goes under the water? Well, it is a submarine, okay? So a boat that goes underwater, well done if you got it. It is a submarine, okay? So that was clue number 2. Clue number 3, this word is when you sign your name. Okay, remember? You're doing it yourself. It's about yourself, so it needs to have the prefix auto. What word was it when you signed your name? It is an autograph. Well done. So now we've got our 3 words. Remember, my hint to you right at the beginning where there are only 3 words. So these are the 3 words that are probably going to repeat themselves now. Let's see what the next clue is. You should use this carefully. Okay, so could be any of those focus words, but which one of these 3 should you use carefully? Well, I guess you could use all 3 of them carefully, couldn't you? But the best fit would be superpower. You should use superpowers very carefully. I know you should probably use submarines carefully. I know you should probably use your name when you sign it carefully, but let's go with superpower. Okay? The second part of the word means the sea. Now, if you think back to last week's lesson, I talked about that root word, and that root word means things to do with water, and things to do with the sea. So let's have a look at these ones again. So second part of the word, does power mean sea? Does marine mean sea? Or does graph mean the sea? Okay, so that's your clue. And your answer is submarine. Okay, and finally, for your last one, you might want this from a famous person. So usually you see those people, all those fans, they stand on the street, they're holding little pieces of paper. What do you think they want from that person? Well, they want a signature of their name. And when that person signs their own name, it is an autograph. Okay, so those were the clues that I created. All right, and those are the clues that helped you determine these focus words. All you've got to do now for your own activity is to create your own clues. All right, so these are the words that I would ask you to do. So you've got supervillain, automobile, autopilot, superhero, and autobiography. All right, what clues can you think of that would get someone to guess those words? All right, I'll give you another hint. For example, for supervillain, I would say, I know you all know Thanos. Thanos is one of these. Okay? Because we know he's a villain from the Avengers, don't we? And we talked about him in our other vocabulary lessons. So he's a supervillain. So my clue would be Thanos is one of these. And so, of course, the answer would be supervillain. All right? So have a think. What other clues could you come up for the rest? See if you can come up with a different ones for supervillain. And this assignment is on Teams, so you can either write it out and attach a picture to the file on Teams, or you can just type in your answers on Teams as well, okay? Just 5 words. Can you create a clue or riddle for them? All right, and once you've done that, you've really deepened your understanding of these focus words. Hopefully you'll know how to use them and you'll understand them if you see them in a story. All right, well done, year 3.